Hey, what up, everyone? Glad you can make it back to my channel and thank you for being here. Now, the following video that you are about to witness comes just a day after our 2018 Independence Day, or AKA 4th of July. Now, this particular video depicts a cop who pulls out a loaded gun on some kids who apparently range from the ages of like 7 to 12. All right. This particular video was shot in my hometown of El Paso in the state of Texas. And I'm not the one who shot this video. I don't know the people involved, but I do know all too well the kinds of cops out here in El Paso, Texas, that are driving around in their fancy cars performing these so-called duties to protect the community and serve its people. Now, this video is coming from a long line of videos across the United States of America and other documents that basically portray what it means to back the blue and what it means to represent the thin blue line. Now, I have my own videos of my own personal experiences with these cops, and my personal experiences don't just stop or start at these particular videos that you have seen on my channel if you've checked them out, my own personal videos, but I've had problems with cops ever since I was a teenager. You know, when I started becoming a young adult and when I started opening my eyes to the world and started absorbing all these different things that were happening between me and my interactions with cops. So, you know, I don't want you to think that, well, Alex's experiences are only limited to his videos. No, that's incorrect. I started recording videos of my own as part of the movement, the ever-growing movement of accountability towards these pigs out here in the USA, and the growing knowledge of what it means to exercise your rights and know where you stand as far as a free person or alleged free person in America. So again, my background as far as dealing with cops goes back to my teenage years. I'm currently 35 years old, so I know all too well what these pigs are capable in my city from way back in the day up to present day, which today is what? July the 7th, Saturday, July the 7th of 2018. Now, this particular video, amongst all the other line of videos that are out there that you can search for, that you can see on different platforms, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, even Google Plus, probably, you know, all the different social media platforms out there. This particular video is really unique. Not that it's not happened before. In fact, I'm sure it's happened before in various parts of the state and maybe just wasn't recorded. But it is unique in the sense that this time it was recorded. Nobody died off of what happened in this particular situation. But just check out the video and you will see in of itself the nature of how fucked up this video is. As a matter of fact, I just reported on another video not too long ago, maybe as far as a week to a few weeks back, about a cop who pulled out a gun and shot at a dog in a room full of children, and the actual little girl that was next to the dog got hit by some fragments from the ricocheted bullet in her face, all right, just above her eye. And the little girl went all crazy and thought she got shot in her eye. But this particular video in of itself is unique in the way it happened. And you're going to see why in just a few moments. But I mean, I just cannot express how disappointed I am on the people in my city. Now, in my particular videos that you might have seen, whether it's in the actual video itself or in the description, you know, I've made, or even in the comments section, I've made remarks as to, you know, why our city, as far as the El Paso Police Department, is so corrupt. even right down to the chief of police and the higher superiors at the very core down there in headquarters. All right. And, you know, it just boggles my mind how fucking corrupt these fucking pigs are. We don't even have body cameras in our city. All right. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And it's because our city is failing to go that much further in protecting its citizens, you know, serving the community. The last time I read about our body cam situation, they had a bill in the works or something, but the program did not pass. And the reason it did not pass is because they were too concerned about, you know, the money. They were too concerned about having to figure out, you know, how they're going to pay for the cameras, what agency they're going to employ as far as being able to capture all the footage, and where the data was going to be stored at. All right. All these different excuses they came up with all came down to one specific thing: money, money, money. Motherfuckers here in my city failed to pass a bill that would implement body cameras on our fucking pigs due to fucking money. And this is money that's coming from taxpayers, you know, which leads me to another point. As I was reading the comments on the social media platforms in regards to this particular video you're about to see, and this is coming to the whole reason that I believe in why our pigs here in El Paso, Texas are so fucking corrupt and get away with all the fucking bullshit that they do, whether it's on video or off video, and a lot of times doesn't even make it to any kind of media outlet or any kind of way for the people to be able to see what's happening in our city when these cops go out there performing their so-called duties. But the reason why they're so corrupt is because my people here, my fellow El Pasoans here, are supporting this terrorism. I was reading these comments, and just comment after comment after comment, these fucking people are out here, my fellow El Pasoans are out here supporting these acts that these fucking pigs are committing, these fucking these criminal activities that they're doing. They're supporting them. They're commenting, talking about how, oh, these kids all should have been locked up, and how ghetto the mom is, and how ghetto the kids are, and that and that the cops are in the right, and they have every right to pull out a gun on these kids. That's what they were saying, that these pigs had every right to pull out their guns on these kids in a self-defense manner. I mean, these are unarmed kids. They pose no threat. These are fucking grown-ass fucking men walking around with badges and guns and the power of authority that the fucking state and the thin blue line of blue privilege grants them. And what kind of excuse do you really have for a grown-ass man with this badge, and as you can see by these background pictures that I'm posting, with their core values that they have in effect on a day-to-day basis for these El Paso pigs, on what they're supposed to live by and their mission statements? What excuse is there really for this motherfucker to pull out his fucking baton and pull out his fucking loaded weapon in which all he has to do is pull the trigger to kill one of these little kids? What excuse is there for that shit? All right? You know, a lot of times I wish that I could just sit there and write down my feelings and write down how I feel about shit, so I can come at you with a more in-depth and I guess a more professional way of reporting. But all these videos that you see me doing, and when I talk about stuff, it's off the top of my head. I'm just freestyling it. I'm not writing on a pen and pad with a pen on a piece of paper my feelings or anything. I'm just coming off the top of my head, and what really bothers me about that is hindsight. You know, after it's all said and done and I've uploaded my video, you know, there's so much more that I want to talk about, but I just really don't want to take up a lot of time, and I don't want to go yapping on about shit. But in this particular case, I mean, it's necessary. You know, I hope you'll take the time to listen to the stuff that I'm talking about, but pay attention to this video, and really in the comment section, if you will, tell me what excuse really do these pigs, what what like moral excuse and what valid excuse can you come up with for this fucking pig in my city of El Paso in the state of Texas? What excuse do you have to back these fucking pigs up as far as doing what they did to these little kids and pulling out their gun and a baton, you know, basically deadly weapons on little fucking defenseless kids who are not armed themselves? And you're gonna hear a lot of shit talk by these kids. You're gonna hear a lot of obscenities coming from these kids' mouth. But you know what? The freedom of speech does not stop at an adult. Even kids have the right to speak their minds freely. And in this particular situation, well, first of all, let me cover that there is a statute that we have that revolves around disorderly conduct. A cop can arrest you for disorderly conduct in my city, and I'm pretty sure it's like that, you know, universally all around the states. But within the statute of disorderly conduct, and I'm sorry I don't have the statute penal code number with me to share with you right now. I'll probably post it later in the description or something. But within that fucking statute, there's a specific place on there, and I believe it's a DTP related, which is defense to prosecution related part of the statute that says it is a defense to prosecution that the person was provoked. All right. And what it means to be in the defense to prosecution is that when you're defending yourself in a court of law, you can defend yourself to the prosecution, meaning that you can defend yourself against the prosecution, I guess, of yourself in the fact that you were provoked. So therefore, it's not disorderly conduct. And these kids, you know, they have rights too. These kids were provoked by the actions of these fucking cops. All right. So the fact that they're yelling and screaming and being disrespectful to these fucking pigs, these little kids, they're in the right. They were provoked. They did not like seeing what their fucking protectors of their community was doing to them. They were so outraged that a fucking pig had the audacity to pull out his fucking loaded weapon on them that they went off on that shit. So you know what? I'm not going to sit here and try to be this good guy that all these fucking El Pasoans, my fellow El Pasoans, that I'm completely ashamed of to call my fellow neighbors here in this city right now. I'm not going to sit here and be talking about how, oh, well, these kids were so disrespectful and they need to wash their mouths out with soap and all of this and that. No, I commend these kids for acting the way they did. They fucking stood up for themselves. They resisted tyranny and oppression. They fucking let their free speech out and through provocation, might I add, and let these motherfuckers know where they stand and how they feel about what happened to them in this video. All right. Now, I didn't make enough space for me to record all of my feelings on this particular subject within the video. I have to like extend the video out in order to capture everything. So very quickly, I just want to kind of give a little background. So again, this happened on July the 5th, just a day after we celebrated our Independence Day. And it happened. So it happened on July the 5th, 2018. And the video started going viral, I believe, the next day, which was Friday. I barely saw this today, which is Saturday, July the 7th. And basically, it's not really known as much detail, but some of the details have come out already that I was able to get a hold of. And basically the reason why these cops showed up is because there was a criminal trespass on one of these kids. Whether that information is true or not, I don't know. But a call was made for criminal trespass, and apparently the kid that you see that's being held up by these pigs, that has his freedom of movement impeded by these pigs. And also take a look and see just how these fucking pigs, that one pig that pulled out the gun, has his knee in the fucking kid's face up against the fucking brick wall. Excuse these fucking terrorist sirens that you're hearing. Sorry about that. That wasn't actually the cops, that was an ambulance. But anytime I hear those sirens, you know, it just rings bells of tyranny in my fucking mind. But basically, it was a call for criminal trespass, and whether or not that shit is true, I don't know. This is a fresh incident, so all the details aren't out yet. But that's as much as I got right now, is that it was a criminal trespass call. And It was only one person apparently involved in the situation, but all these other kids that are around, I don't know if they were his friends. I don't know if they were the homies that were rolling with that kid. I don't know if they just came out of their houses after they saw what they saw. But all these kids, other kids that are in the background, they had committed no crimes, and there was absolutely no kind of interference that they were producing in there, and they were sitting there trying to protect their fellow neighbor and show where they stand as far as what these fucking pigs were doing in the moment on that situation. More details that I've gotten is that a couple of the individuals were actually arrested and charged with interference of public duties. And that's some bullshit right there, because there is no interference with public duties when the fucking pigs are committing crimes, when they become the criminals themselves. They've already... Sorry guys, my voice got cut out. As I record, the video plays along, and if I don't extend the clip far enough, then it'll just cut off on me. So I had to come back and extend it a little more, because I'm just not finished speaking my mind. So what I left off is that they already released a press conference, I guess, about this situation. And I can't download those videos to be able to apply to this video so you could see it for yourself, but I'm gonna see if I can find, you know, the link source, so that way you can tap on the link and go in there and see the press conference yourself. But what I got out of this press conference is there's nothing but damage control going on. Now, if there's one thing that I know about IA in El Paso, Texas, is that those motherfuckers are corrupt and they back the blue privilege. So I'm 100% expecting this particular case to go nowhere. All right. And then on top of that, they fucking put the pig on desk duty. So what that means is that our taxpayers... Sorry, I don't know if you heard that shit. I just got a notification. But our taxpayers are footing the bill to keep this motherfucker's check in his pockets to continue paying his fucking hours of work. He's been placed on desk duty so he can continue making money off the taxpayers after pulling a gun on some innocent little kids. All right? So that's fucked up. And that shit pisses me the fuck off. But... basically, so this press conference was all about damage control. It's all about talking about internal affairs investigation for administrative, some administrative action, because that's all IA is about, administrative action. It's not a criminal deal. This motherfucker performed a criminal action pulling a loaded gun on some innocent kids that he had no reason to be doing. If it was a regular citizen, if it was you or I, just a regular private citizen that did that on somebody without having a reason to do that shit for self-defense purposes, then we would be going to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We'd be facing some major prison time for that shit. All right. So basically, it's all damage control. They didn't want to release much details, and the way they word that press conference, like the statements that they're making are not aligning with the core values and the mission statements that you're seeing in my background pictures right now. Because what they're saying is that they're basically leaving the fault on the kids, talking about how they're not respecting the police officers, how they're not falling in line with the narrative of how these pigs are supposed to be treated and how to interact with cops. No, these kids did right in the way they interacted with these pigs. They came out with their freedom of speech. They knew in their hearts that this shit was wrong. They knew in their hearts that these fucking pigs were wrong, and they fucking acted upon their feelings and where their hearts were at. All right, so I commend these kids. And another thing I commend these kids on, and I don't know if it was an adult that was recording, but the fact that it was being recorded. All right, don't ever be scared to record the cops. When you see some shit like this happening, especially when there's children involved, motherfucker, you pull out those fucking cameras. Even if you're a little kid, you pull out that camera and you fucking record. Don't be afraid to step to these fucking pigs. All right, now... Again, as I was just about to say, that don't go so far out of line to where you step over that point of no return. But keep in mind that there are statutes regarding the use of force and the use of deadly force, and the use of force and deadly force in the defense of a third person. Those penal codes, as they relate to Texas statutes, are 9.31, 9.32, 9.33, and I think even 9.34. So if you go out and you check those statutes out, you will read you know, what is the nature of being able to defend yourself using force and deadly force, and even in the defense of a third party. And in this case, you know, if these kids were old enough, or if there was any responsible adult out there that knew what they were doing, that adult would be in the right to be able to use force against these fucking pigs, and even up to deadly force, the moment that this fucking pig pulled out his service pistol on innocent children. All right, because that's assault with a deadly weapon out there. When you pull out your gun, hold on, this shit's gonna cut off. I'm gonna have to extend this clip. One moment. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. But as I was saying, when you pull out your gun on somebody, you know, there better be some really good reason to do it. You have to be in imminent fear of your life as a private citizen. But you know what? These fucking rules, they shouldn't apply the same way to, they should apply the same way to cops. And it's likely that they do, because over and over you hear these pigs about how they fear for their lives. So think about that. I want you to say that statement in your mind as you're watching this video. Say to yourself, this cop was in such fear for his life, okay? And then look at the kids, all unarmed. They didn't attack them. They didn't do anything. They were just talking shit because they didn't like what the cop was doing. But again, as soon as you pull out your fucking gun on somebody, you know, you better have a good fucking reason to do that. Your fucking life should be in imminent danger to where you're risking your death or serious bodily injury to your person. You know, life or limb, basically. And this pig had none of that. He had absolutely no fucking grounds for him to pull out his goddamn service pistol on a bunch of little fucking kids. And so again, going back to like being able to defend yourself against fucking cops, and to be able to defend other people against fucking cops, it's in our Texas statutes. 9.31, 9.32, 9.33, and I think even 9.34. Self-defense, using deadly force for self-defense, and defense of third person. I think maybe 9.34 is defense of property. Both using force and deadly force. But there's also 9.22, which is necessity. All right. And then 9.02 talks about how within that particular chapter of the penal codes that relate to self-defense and all of that, it is a defense to prosecution that that the conduct is justified. Okay, so that should be taken into consideration as well, and that's 9.02. So read up on those particular statutes if you're in Texas or in El Paso, Texas. And before this thing cuts off again and I have to extend it, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave my particular feelings where they're at. I mean, there's so much more I want to say. I'm so fucking angry with this particular video. It really pisses me off, especially, you know, when you sit there and you read the fucking core values and the mission statement that our fucking pigs put out there on their government website. Yeah, it's right there on their website for the El Paso police. And you realize that it's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. All of that shit is bullshit. And the way that fucking press conference happened, the way they're doing damage control, and the way they're blaming it on the kids, talking about how they need to learn how to respect officers and how to interact and what to do and what to not to do, where to put your hands and where to not put your hands, and all that bullshit. All of that bullshit is just fucking, it's all propaganda for the public to basically fall under the boots of back in the blue and the thin blue line and blue privilege, you know, for these fucking pigs to again have the upper hand and to be leading the sheeple around that they have underneath them, you know, and it's fucked up. But the last thing that I want to say is, again, I do respect these kids. I do commend these kids for not only recording, but for standing up against these motherfuckers, these oppressors of our communities, for speaking their fucking minds, utilizing their free speech. And again, it is completely provoked. Sorry, it cut off on me again, but it is completely provoked on behalf of the actions that these fucking pigs presented to these people today. All right, these members of our community. And so the last thing that I want to say before I continue yapping about this shit is, for all my fellow El Pasoans that are sitting here supporting these terrorist actions by these fucking pigs out here in our city, you know, commenting, talking about how these fucking pigs were in the right and all of that shit, and how these kids should have all been locked up and should have been spanked and this and that. For all you fucking El Pasoans, yes, I'm talking to you. Fuck all of you people. You motherfuckers disgust me, because how fucked up is it that you're gonna sit there and you're gonna fucking support terrorism, but yeah, you've got these little kids that are ranging from ages 7 to 12. You got these little kids that have more balls than you to stand up against their oppressors than you do. These motherfucking kids knew that what these fucking pigs were doing was fucking wrong. And again, this isn't about the criminal trespass shit or whatever. That's a whole completely different subject. Whether or not that shit is true is yet to be found out. But this is about what the fucking pigs did to escalate the situation, not de-escalate, but escalate the situation, and put these kids in harm's way. Because as members of our community, we have every right to be where we're at and witness and record and express our feelings about what's happening when some shit goes down in our streets, all right? We have every right to be there, not just the fucking pigs because they get called out there. No, these are our fucking communities. These are our fucking streets, not theirs. We're the motherfuckers that fucking pay taxes on this fucking city. So for all you fuckers that are supporting these terrorist actions, fuck you.
Put that shit back. Put it up. You again? Fuck 12. You think you're cool?
You can't do that to him. Pussy ass motherfucker. Chill. Hey, bitch! Get the fuck out of here, bitch! Hey! Fucking pussy ass! Get back! I'm telling you to move!
Hey, it's all good. Wait, we're gonna put a report on these two fools. It's all good. What are you doing? I'm just recording.
Give me that shit. Just because he's over here being a fucking wannabe cop and shit. Yeah, I'm recording them. Do your job right. Do your job right. You don't know how to do your job, motherfuckers. That's why they teach you to go train somewhere. Come here. I know where you live. I don't give a shit. I'll move. I don't care.
What the fuck is his address? What's the address?
What is your problem?
You're being a fucking bitch.
What are you gonna do? I'm not gonna hit you, little boy.
Talking to a little boy. Oh my god. Why is he picking on little kids?
Sit back on here.
You can be that's a gun on a minor. He wasn't doing nothing but standing up. He was standing up normal. He put out a gun. He put out a gun. Hey, what the fuck? You fucking pig!
Just because he's my son, he's gonna take him in. What a pussy. What a pussies. I don't care. I don't care. Don't talk to me. Do not talk to me.
Hey, dude, I wasn't here, man.
You guys got shit on us. We didn't do shit. That nigga's like 9 out. His two brothers and he like fuck your mom. And you're pushing this fuck your mom. What the fuck? What's okay? What? He just that nigga's gonna fuck down like a kid.
Somebody's gonna end up dead one of these days.
Pulling out a gun on a kid, nigga. Fucking a fucking cop without a badge and a gun, they ain't shit.
Just remember the name.
A fucking cop. A cop without a gun and a badge, they ain't shit. They're pussy ass niggas.
Everybody just remember their faces.
As soon as you fucking take that shit off, you got that shit.
Take a picture, record the fuck out of his face. Get his face. Like, turn his mouth.
Y'all ain't shit with that fucking uniform.
Get his face.
That is true, you ain't shit without the uniform. Y'all need to carry around a fucking gun because y'all can't do shit. Hey, oh, fuck right.
Yeah. Let's see how that feels, and especially little kids. These are little kids, but wait till they grow up and give you a hard ass time.
Right here, this nigga right here. Come get him.
We're in the corner of Sobrano and Seville.
He assaulted a nigga.
Hey, relax. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Let's let them out. Well, let him out. He never did shit.
Nobody did shit.
He offended us with a gun. He's fucking pointing a gun twice to fucking our heads. What the fuck, kid? Pussy ass nigga pointing out a gun at a kid. Fucking cop without a gun, you're backstage shit. You ain't got shit on them. If you come and fucking arrest them, they didn't do shit to you, bitch.
No, I don't.
Don't show shit. Don't show shit.